So what is declawing? I'm going to butcher this name. I'm just going to tell you. It's called onyctomy. And what it is, it's removing not only the nail, as most people think, but it's also removing the last bone that contains the nail. This involves cutting through the bone, tendons, muscles, skin, and nerves. And this procedure is commonly done, besides just in house cats, in large cats in order to domesticate them. So this is a picture of just a normal cat's claws, its nails, and its, third bone of the third phalanx being removed. And this is what happens. So they take this scalpel and they make a little incision between this second and third, and then they remove this whole bone, including the claw. So there are many side effects of declawing, and these things are things such as infection, a pebble in shoe sensation, arthritis and lameness, and then walking on its elbows. So infection, what can cause that is there's bone fragments that were part of the third phalanx stays in the forming tissue, and this causes an infection, and this can be very painful towards the cats. The pebble in shoe can go along with the infection, or it can be all by itself, and it's just when they're trying to walk, there's an extreme pain supporting their body weight, and if the tendons are still attached, the retained segment pulls the bones that are left over underneath the foot, causing this to even be worse. Arthritis and lameness, this is to compensate. The cats will attempt to shift their weight further back on their wrist, like this right here, and this can cause arthritis in their legs on top of the sensations they already have. And then also walking on elbows, which is right there. As you can see, that bobcat is trying to walk on its elbows to prevent the pain. So these are just some side effects. And all this can, it's not just one of them can all happen, the infection can happen, then the pebble and shoe can all just continuously cause all these problems. And then there's treatments and alternatives. So you can have reconstructive surgery for large cats. It is very expensive though. So it's not something that's really normally done. And what they do is they go into the infected tissue and nail remnants, and they're cleaned out. And then a heavy suture is placed in the remaining digital flexor tendon, and it's attached to the extensor tendon in the back and on the surface of the toe. And then they tighten it, which repositions the pad so that way it's more in the proper anatomical position. But like I said, that's very expensive. So otherwise, you can use pain medicine. For some cats though, it all depends on what kind of pain medicine you use. Some, if it's bad enough, will have to have pain medicine more than once a day. Some can go with once a day. And then you can do nail trimming on large cats, if it's an outside cat, that's obviously going to be a problem. But if you have a serval inside for breeding uses, it's not as bad. You can do nail caps. I did look it up. You can do nail caps such as soft paws or soft claws on servals. I don't think you'd want to do it on a lynx. But then scratching post is what a lot of zoos and stuff use, and a lot of rehabilitation centers. So here you have a serval, and then you have a lynx, and they just use trees and stuff like that. So it doesn't cost you anything at all. But yeah, any questions?
I guess I have one at the beginning. I might have missed it. Now these big cats, what's the main reason for declawing anyway? Is it safety?
No. So a lot of servals and lynxes, people decide to try to keep them as pets for breeding. So then they try and domesticate them and stuff, and they're let's remove their claws so they don't hurt me, and then they don't realize how much pain it causes them.
Okay, that's why they do that. Yeah. Okay, there's a question for you right there.
Yeah.
So, my aunt has declawed cats, but they still try and scratch on the board. But it's kind of like phantom nerves when humans lose a finger. They still think they feel it, but they really don't have them.
That's what I would say. I'm not 100% sure on that.
I think maybe Rochelle has an answer.
And it's also, from what I've read, I don't know how accurate it is, but it's also because they have a place in their paw pads where they can release their pheromones.
Pheromones. Okay, so it might be also spread. It's I'll hate to say instinct, but they still want to do that.
Yeah.
I think most people would call it a modal action pattern, MAP. Those of you in behavior, I think that's what they tend to call them. They're still probably spreading the scent that way too. Other questions? I just think it's kind of crazy to have a big animal like that as a pet. No, that's a lynx, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not
We'll
a big.
try.
Huh?
Mm-hmm. We'll try.
I know people try, but it's still seems crazy.
And if you've ever heard a serval, you would not want to keep those as pets. They don't meow, they hiss the whole time.
Yeah.
That's how they communicate. It's just sketchy.
Well, because I've had a student bring in Savannah cats and a Bengal, and unless you do that right, yeah.
I think the Savannah is half circle.
Okay, yeah, and I don't know all the genetics, but yeah,
Yeah.
there's still, if you don't do it right, it can be very dangerous, so. Okay, well,